Imagine being asked to risk your life on nothing more than a glimmer of hope. No guarantee of success. This is the story of a young queen who, staring down a death sentence, had to make an impossible choice: her own safety or the survival of her people. It's a story of hidden identity, political games, and breathtaking bravery, all unfolding in the heart of one of the most powerful empires the world has ever known. This is the story of Queen Esther, an orphan who became a queen, and a queen who became a hero. It's a timeless human drama that asks a question we all have to face at some point. What do you do when everything is on the line? Our story kicks off in the 5th century BCE in the sprawling Persian Empire ruled by King Ahasuerus, better known to history as Xerxes I. From his winter capital of Susa, a city of stunning beauty and deadly politics, his word was absolute law. The story opens not with our hero, but with a massive display of royal ego. King Ahasuerus threw a 180-day feast for his military leaders and nobles, likely a massive war council to plan his invasion of Greece. At the climax, during a 7-day drinking binge, the king, drunk and puffed up, made a fatal mistake. He ordered his wife, Queen Vashti, to appear before his guests wearing her royal crown, just so he could show off her beauty. It was a demeaning demand, treating her like another one of his treasures. Queen Vashti said no. Her act of defiance sent a shockwave through the court. The king's advisors, terrified her example would inspire other women, pushed for a harsh response. Fueled by wine and a wounded ego, King Ahasuerus deposed Queen Vashti, banishing her forever. Suddenly, the throne was empty. After Vashti's removal, the king's men came up with a plan: a kingdom-wide beauty pageant. They would gather the most beautiful young virgins from all 127 provinces, and from them, the king would pick his new queen. This is where we meet Hadassah. Her name means myrtle tree, but we know her by her Persian name, Esther, which means star. Esther was a Jewish orphan, raised in Susa by her older cousin Mordecai, who treated her like his own daughter. When the king's decree went out, Esther, described as lovely in form and feature, was taken and brought to the palace. This wasn't a choice, it was a command. She was put in the care of the keeper of the women for months of beautification treatments, all to prepare for one night with the king. But Esther had a secret. Following Mordecai's strict orders, she never revealed she was Jewish. In the gilded cage of the Persian court, her identity could be a death sentence. Every day, Mordecai would pace anxiously near the courtyard of the women's quarters, his heart heavy with worry, desperate for any news about her. Esther's grace and humility made her a favorite of everyone she met. When her turn finally came to go before the king, she didn't demand extravagant jewels or clothes. She only took what the king's eunuch suggested. And when King Ahasuerus saw her, he loved her more than all the other women. He placed the royal crown on her head and made her his queen. To celebrate, he threw another huge banquet, Esther's feast. Just like that, Esther, the orphan girl, was the queen of the most powerful empire on earth. She had stumbled into a life of unbelievable luxury. But as she settled in, a dark shadow began to fall over the empire, a danger that no one, not even the queen, saw coming. Life in the palace went on. Mordecai, ever loyal, continued to sit at the king's gate. And it was there that his loyalty was first put on display. He overheard two of the king's guards plotting to assassinate King Ahasuerus. Mordecai immediately told Queen Esther, who told the king, giving her cousin full credit. The plot was foiled, the men were executed, and Mordecai's good deed was written down in the official records. But the act was quickly forgotten, and Mordecai wasn't rewarded. Soon after, the king promoted a man named Haman. He was elevated above all other officials, and the king commanded that everyone at the royal gate bow down to him. And they all did. All except one. Mordecai would not bow. This wasn't arrogance, it was conviction. As a Jew, he refused to give a man such reverence. When Haman realized Mordecai wasn't bowing, he was consumed with rage. His monstrous pride was wounded, but in his twisted mind, punishing just one man wasn't enough. Learning Mordecai was a Jew, his personal grudge exploded into a genocidal plot. He would annihilate his entire people. To himself, he likely sneered, "No one will stand in my way." Haman's hatred was chillingly methodical. He had his servants cast the pur, or the lot, to pick the perfect day for his horrific plan. The 13th day of the 12th month, Adar. With his date set, Haman went to the king. He framed his genocide as a matter of national security. "There is a certain people," he said, "scattered among your kingdom. Their laws are different, and they do not keep the king's laws, so it is not in the king's profit to tolerate them." Then he made the king an offer he couldn't refuse. A staggering fortune of 10,000 talents of silver to cover any financial loss. King Ahasuerus, with breathtaking carelessness, agreed without a single question. He simply took off his signet ring, the symbol of his irreversible authority, and gave it to Haman. "The money and the people are yours," the king said, "to do with as you see fit." The decree was written and sent to every corner of the vast empire. The orders were brutal. On the 13th day of Adar, they were to destroy, to kill, and to annihilate all Jews, young and old, women and children, in one day, and to plunder their goods. While the king and Haman sat down for a drink, the city of Susa was thrown into confusion. When Mordecai learned what had happened, his world shattered. He tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and walked through the city, wailing loudly. Across the empire, as the news spread, there was great mourning among the Jewish people. An entire people were now living under a state-sanctioned death sentence. Inside the palace, Queen Esther had no idea. When her maids told her about Mordecai's public mourning, she was deeply distressed. Alarmed, she sent an attendant to find out what was wrong. Mordecai told him everything and gave him a copy of the death decree to show Esther. Then, he gave Esther a terrifying command. She had to go to the king and plead for her people. When the message returned, a cold fear must have gripped Esther. The life of luxury she knew now seemed like a paper-thin illusion. Her heart raced. Could she really step into the inner court uninvited? The weight of her people pressed on her chest. She sent a message back, reminding Mordecai of the court's brutal law.
"All the king's officials know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, there is only one law, that they be put to death. The only exception is if the king extends the golden scepter. But 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king."
She was out of favor. To approach him now was almost certain suicide. Mordecai's reply was a thunderclap that shattered her hesitation. "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape," he warned. "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish." He was telling her she wasn't exempt. Then he delivered the iconic words that have echoed through history. "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this." Those words reframed her entire life. Maybe none of it was an accident. Maybe she was put here for this exact moment. Have you ever faced a moment where the right choice was terrifying? Imagine standing in Esther's place. Esther's decision was the turning point. She sent her final reply to Mordecai, her voice filled with solemn resolve.
Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do.
This was a plea for solidarity, an admission that this was beyond human strength. And then came her final, unforgettable declaration of courage, a statement of total surrender.
When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish.
With those words, Esther accepted the possibility of death. She had mastered her fear by choosing to act in spite of it. For 3 days, a silent, spiritual battle was waged. On the 3rd day, the fast ended. Esther rose. Her hands might have been shaking as she put on her royal robes, her breathing shallow. She prepared not as a victim, but as a queen. Her heart was likely pounding as she walked toward the inner court of the palace. The king sat on his throne, facing the entrance. The law was clear. Enter unsummoned, and you die. Esther stepped into the courtyard and stood where the king could see her. She didn't rush or cry out. She just stood there, a solitary figure, her life hanging by a thread. And the king saw her. What happened next was a moment of pure grace. The temperamental King Ahasuerus wasn't angry. Instead, the Bible says she won his favor. He looked at his queen and his heart softened. He held out the golden scepter. It was the signal, the sign of life. Her greatest hurdle was cleared. "What is it, Queen Esther?" the king asked. "What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom it will be given to you." This was her chance. But Esther's courage was matched by her wisdom. Accusing the king's most trusted advisor could easily backfire. Instead of revealing her plea, she made a disarming request.
If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet I have prepared for them.
The king agreed. The invitation was a strategic masterpiece, lulling Haman into a false sense of security. The stage was now set for the story's dramatic final act. Haman left that first banquet on top of the world. His ego soared. But as he passed the king's gate, his joy turned to ash. There sat Mordecai, still refusing to rise or show him any fear. That one act of defiance ruined everything. Haman went home, seething, and boasted to his friends and wife about his wealth and his special invitation. "But all this gives me no satisfaction," he raged, "as long as I see that Jew Mordecai sitting at the king's gate." His wife had a simple solution. "Have a gallows built," she suggested, 75 feet high, and in the morning, ask the king to have Mordecai hanged on it. The idea delighted Haman. He immediately ordered the gallows to be built. But that night, the king couldn't sleep. Restless, he ordered the official records to be read to him. The servant read on until he reached the entry about how Mordecai had uncovered the assassination plot. The king stopped him. "What honor did Mordecai receive for this?" "Nothing has been done for him," his attendants replied. Just then, Haman appeared, eager to ask permission to hang Mordecai. Before Haman could speak, the king asked, "What should be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Haman's heart leaped. Blinded by ego, he thought, "Who else but me?" "For the man the king delights to honor," Haman answered. "Bring a royal robe the king has worn and a horse the king has ridden. Let one of the king's most noble princes robe the man and lead him on the horse through the city, proclaiming, 'This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor.'" "Go at once," the king commanded Haman. "Get the robe and the horse, and do just as you have suggested for Mordecai the Jew. Do not neglect a single thing." The shock was a physical blow. Utterly humiliated, Haman was forced to find his mortal enemy, dress him in the king's robes, and lead him through the city, shouting the proclamation he had devised for himself. The great reversal had begun. Haman rushed home in shame, where his wife told him, "Since Mordecai, before whom your downfall has started, is of Jewish origin, you cannot stand against him. You will surely come to ruin." While they were still talking, the king's eunuchs arrived to hurry Haman to Esther's second banquet. There, the king asked again, "Queen Esther, what is your petition?" The time for subtlety was over. Esther took a breath.
If I have found favor with you, Your Majesty, grant me my life. This is my petition. And spare my people. This is my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated."
The king was stunned. "Who is he?" he demanded. "Where is the man who has dared to do such a thing?" Esther looked directly at the man beside them.
"An adversary and enemy. This vile Haman."
Terror seized Haman. The king, furious, stormed into the garden. Left alone, Haman fell on the queen's couch, begging for his life. At that exact moment, the king walked back in and saw his disgraced advisor in a compromising position. "Will he even molest the queen while she is with me in the house?" he roared. As the words left his mouth, guards covered Haman's face, a signal he was condemned. Then a eunuch spoke up. "A gallows, 75 feet high, stands by Haman's house. He had it made for Mordecai." The irony was perfect. "Hang him on it," the king ordered. So they hanged Haman on the very gallows he had built for Mordecai. Haman was gone, but his evil decree remained. Persian law stated an edict sealed with the king's ring could not be revoked. The date for the slaughter was still on the calendar. The king gave Esther all of Haman's property and gave Mordecai his signet ring, appointing him to the position his enemy once held. Esther again fell at the king's feet and begged him to stop Haman's plan. He couldn't cancel the first decree, but he could authorize a new one. "Now write another decree, on behalf of the Jews," he told them, "and seal it with the king's signet ring." So Mordecai, now prime minister, wrote a new edict. It was sent to all 127 provinces, giving the Jews the right to assemble, protect themselves, and fight back against any who might attack them. When the new decree was issued, the city of Susa erupted in celebration. Light and gladness replaced darkness and fear. When the 13th of Adar finally arrived, the tables had completely turned. Instead of being victims, the Jews defended themselves and were victorious. To commemorate this incredible deliverance, Mordecai and Esther established the annual festival of Purim, named after the pur, or lot, that Haman had cast. It was to be a lasting memorial of the time their sorrow was turned into joy. The story of Esther ends not with tragedy, but with triumph. Mordecai became second in command to the king, working for the good of his people. Esther's story is remarkable for many reasons, but perhaps most for what's unseen. The name of God is never once mentioned in the entire book. And yet, a guiding hand seems present in every twist and turn. in a king's sleepless night, in a forgotten good deed, in a villain's pride leading to his own downfall, and in an orphan girl being in the right place at the right time. It suggests that even when all seems silent, events can align in the most extraordinary ways. The story reminds us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the choice to act for something greater than our own safety. Esther's famous words, "If I perish, I perish," are a declaration of courage, a willingness to risk it all for the chance to do what's right. It asks a question of each of us. We may not be queens, but we all face moments that test our courage and ask us to speak up when it's easier to stay silent. In those moments, we too must consider the question Mordecai asked Esther. Who knows if we were brought to our own unique position in life for such a time as this? What is a such a time as this moment you have faced? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story of courage inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more stories that have shaped our world. Thanks for watching.